Hello kids, this is Faizan Hussain and we were studying the chapter Tissues class 9 biology. In the last class we have studied about the meristematic tissues and its types, right? So our today's topic is the permanent tissues. What are permanent tissues? We are going to study today. So, our today's topic is permanent tissues. What are permanent tissues? Actually, permanent tissues are the tissues which are derived from the meristematic tissues only. We have studied in the meristematic tissues that when meristematic tissues divide, it divides into two types of cell. What are those two types of cell? One were the cell which were having the ability to divide, were known as initial, right? And the other which were known as derivatives which do not have the ability to divide. So these are derived from the derivatives only, which are, you can say, which are grown in size and have the development, right? And they are having the proper shape and particular functions. So these are the permanent tissues. So basically, if we categorize, you can say, if we distinguish between, you can say, permanent tissue and meristematic tissue. So here, the permanent tissues, the cell do not divide. These cells do not divide, and these are differentiated cells. And the process by which meristematic cells, the meristematic tissue cells, are converted into the permanent tissues or permanent tissue cells or into permanent cells is known as differentiation. What it is called? Differentiation. Differentiation, it is the process of converting meristematic cells into permanent cells. Process of converting meristematic cells into permanent cells. Got it? So here, differentiation is the process by which meristematic cells are converted into permanent cells or meristematic tissues are converted into permanent tissues. Here, got it? So actually, cells I have written because tissues are the combination of cells only, right? Next, we can say they are having a definite or specific function. They have specific functions, and as from the name only it is clear that these are permanent cells, right? These are permanent cells, so they have permanent shape and size. They are having permanent shape and size, right? So these cells have permanent shape and size, that's why they are known as permanent tissues. Got it? Next we can see here in these cells, metabolic activity is relatively low in comparison to meristematic tissues, right? So here we can write relatively low metabolic activity. Got it? So they are having relatively low metabolic activity in comparison to meristematic tissues. In meristematic tissues, the metabolic activity is relatively high because they cells are continuously dividing. Next, we are talking about we can say that these cells might be living or non-living. So here in these cells like parenchyma, collenchyma, these are living, and sclerenchyma, it is non-living. So here we can see cells may be living or non-living. Got it? Next, if we are talking about the intercellular space, that also may be present or might not be present. Intercellular space may be or not. Got it? So here intercellular space also may be present or might not be present. Got it? So here next we can see the position of nucleus. Here the position of nucleus is in the periphery. Why in the periphery region? Because here the vacuole is centrally located. So we can write vacuole centrally located and nucleus in periphery. Got it? So vacuole is centrally located. That's why most of the area is covered by vacuole only, and nucleus is located in the periphery region. Got it? Here there is a thin membrane between vacuole and cytoplasm which differentiate vacuoles from the cytoplasm. Got it? Next we can see here there are, you can say, function which are performed, a specific function which are performed like protection and support. These are the specific function: protection, support, photosynthesis, food storage, etc., etc. Function like protection, storage, photosynthesis, support, got it? Here nucleus is relatively small because vacuoles covers the most of the space and nucleus is small, and it performs the function like protection, storage, photosynthesis and support. Got it? So here we can see these are the specific functions or specific characteristics of a permanent tissues.